It really sucks because I feel like there have been like quite a few situations recently where I've just been able to say, your book, your intro. And now I don't have that option because it's mine. And now I know how you feel when I say, your book, your intro. We're back with another off the shelf. I'm actually really excited for this one. I actually didn't think I'd ever get to do this as an off the shelf. I genuinely didn't because I had no clue that this was going to get opted for a paper release. So what we have is a manhwa called The Lady and Her Butler. We have the first 3 volumes. They're the ones I have right now, so I just elected to do all 3 of them. They're pretty chunky, I will say. Like, they're fairly large, but they're not as dense on the inside as, like, traditional manhwa.
So, this is something I noticed about the structure of it. When I was looking at it, I noticed the pages were surprisingly thick. Like, there were times I turned multiple pages, and it was only the one page.
These are also heavy laminated pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it looks thicker than it actually is. I actually finished this all in about, like, a 3-hour period.
Yeah, it's not the longest thing ever. They're about 300 pages each. Which is not too bad when you consider that, like, a normal manga is typically, like, 200-ish, like, something around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a manhwa. So this was originally published through Legend and then is now being released through Seven Seas Entertainment into paper.
Seven Seas is fun. Because Seven Seas does, like they do the localizations you never like Prisma Ilia localization you never expect comes out of Seven Seas.
They also do some of my favorite manhwas. They do A Stepmother's Marchin',
really,
which I love. No, I have a ton of Seven Seas stuff. Yen Press, Seven Seas, and Ise Press are the 3 main publishers doing manhwa.
Now I'm curious as to how they ended up doing Prisma fucking Ilia.
Because I think Seven Seas also does Seven Seas also does the percentage-wise vast majority of my R-rated yaoi.
They do,
and I think they do that because they work with Legend, and Legend is the most popular publisher for R-rated manhwa. So because most Legend things do get published through Seven Seas.
Thinking about A Stepmother's Marchin', though, I think Seven Seas is consistently doing bigger, thicker books than a lot of other publishers are.
They are. The only exception I have to that is Titan's Bride back there, but Titan's Bride is also a manga and not a manhwa, so it's a little thinner, but it does keep the bigger book format, so. But yeah, so Lady and Her Butler, this is a completed webtoon. This actually was completed, I want to say, like, quite a few years ago, I think. So it first came out in 2017. I want to say it was probably completed by, like, 2019 or 2020. I read this a long time ago when it was first completed and it was still available on, I think, either Legend or another app. It's no longer available on the original app I read it on. It was removed after it was finished and then licensed to a different app. Because I remember that Manta had it for a while, and I reread the whole series on Manta, but it's no longer available on Manta either. It's on a different app now. So it's kind of been jumping between licensing online. But you can find it licensed and unlicensed, obviously. It is not a historical isekai romance.
No, for that alone, it's a little bit refreshing.
It like, despite the name Lady and Her Butler, it is not.
I was expecting a historical isekai when I first heard the title.
It's a joke. It's a joke, basically. I'm super excited about this. So, the premise for this is that these are our main characters, obviously, Suha and Taesu. Suha is an office worker. She lives on her own. And Taesu is kind of out of a job, and he answers like an online ad for a new apartment. But turns out he's been sold Suha's apartment by someone who didn't own it. And he now has no place to live. And he's like, will you please let me stay with you for like just a little bit till I get on my feet? Because I was scammed, right? Like, I spent all of the money I had on me. And she's like, no, what the fuck? You are a weird man. Like a large, weird man in my home. Get out. I think she hits him with a fucking frying pan.
Yeah, before he explains shit, but yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, wait, I'm gay. Please. He is not actually gay. She now thinks that he is gay. Anyways, they do end up living together, and he kind of essentially works as like live-in home help because she doesn't really have time to do a lot of that stuff for herself. So he cooks, he cleans, he does the shopping. and he's supposed to be working on getting back on his feet, right? Like finding a new job, etc., because he's gone through some hardships recently. So how... This is very different from just about anything else I've given you.
Yes.
I don't often give you stuff like this. So I do want to hear your opinion on it.
It was an easy read on the fact that it was something unique compared to what we normally have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I've actually been going back and forth on this pretty much since I read it today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. In some way, I can see why it has a following, because our main woman here is a very... As far as I can tell, and I think they even say this on like a tagline on the back of the book or something, she is written as a very, very relatable character, I think, to what I hear of a lot of
the highly relatable hit webtoon about a woman avoiding romance and the man she takes in.
Yeah. I have a lot of female friends at around the age that like that character's supposed to be very relatable to, and I do hear a lot of, like, I hear a lot of the same kinds of thoughts, whether it be about the romance for her or even for just other aspects of her life that she explains. I see where the appeal of this is.
But it is also targeted towards my demographic, not yours.
So, like, 100%, I see 100% why your demographic and I enjoys it. I would probably...
My demographic being women in their 20s.
I would recommend this to a lot of other people who are in that demographic. Women in their 20s.
Or 30s. This could work for 30s, too.
But maybe it's because I'm a guy reading a woman's romance. I thought the guy was kind of creepy. He's a little creepy, and he's a little, like I see, like, when I read him, I'm not reading a character, I'm reading a kind of like a weird wish fulfillment in a way, where your gay best friend is also attractive and is actually secretly not gay.
Yeah, he's a little read a lot weird, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that he lies about being gay and stuff. And I do want to be clear here. He does not lie about being gay in order to live with a woman, right?
Yeah.
He does this out of desperation because he needs a place to live, point blank, period. But yeah, I mean, there's some aspects here that you're kind of looking at it and you're like, I don't know if I'd do that. You know what I mean? I don't know if, like, obviously in sort of a fictionalized romance world, this is acceptable. I don't know if this is necessarily reflective of anything that would really happen in real life all that frequently, or with that little reservations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the realism of this kind of begins and ends with our main female lead.
Yeah, I think, but the other thing is, so we read the first 3 volumes, right? And in that, I think, as far as I remember, because I read these before I gave them to you, but you've had them for a while, we're starting to get a lot of dropped hints about what happened to him for him to be in the situation that he's in, but the books haven't actually explained it fully yet, have they?
No, they've only covered that it was relationship drama in his former workplace.
Yeah, okay, so we haven't actually gotten the explanation
and I have
for
suspicions.
Yeah, for how he ended up there. I think there's also a wider cast than just our main 2 characters.
And we do have sort of a B plot here with another guy who had previously asked the main girl out, and the girl he is now seeing.
Yeah, so that's...
And I have suspicions that those plot lines are going to reconverge at some point.
Yeah, so that's her boss, basically. Her boss at work did kind of at the beginning of the story is that he asks her out, and she's like, no, I'm not interested in romance. I'm not gay, I'm just not interested in romance. And she's polite about it, right? Like, she's not telling him, like, fuck no, go away, right? Like, it's very much just, this is not something I'm interested in right now, and I don't see you that way. Like, thank you, but no, you know? And so, yeah, the B plot line is him finding this other girl, and it kind of develops, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like instant love or anything, but it's sort of like bit by bit, like interactions, and just spending time with one another, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, it's very cute in the background. There's definitely some hints being dropped about it, and like all 4 of these characters, but like, for now, it's sort of nice to have 2 your main couple, and then kind of a sub couple. Not that they're a couple, because she still thinks he's gay. You also have their friend at the convenience store.
Her actual gay best friend.
Yeah, her actual gay best friend. No, he's straight too!
They haven't revealed that yet.
Haven't they?
No.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Did they not?
Yeah, because he's talking about the girl he wants to impress.
Did he? I must have missed that.
Yeah, because he's talking about the girl he wants to impress all the time. I'm positive. That's part of it. Yeah, because he's going to the girl that he wants to like, and he's devastated because they're talking about her dating another guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So they do reveal that he is in fact also.
But that's like towards the very end of the third volume. That's why I missed that.
Everyone in this story is straight so far. All 5 of our main and
never mind. She
does
not have a gay best friend.
She has no gay best friend.
Deprived of one of the great joys in life.
I think this is important to know. There's no gay best friend in this story. But, I mean, once again, he provides sort of another dimension to this relationship because she thinks that the two of them, like, for a while, she thinks that, like, he likes the cute guy and the cute guy likes him, but then there's, like, there's, like, 2 love triangles and an equilateral something else between them. It's weird, but I like it. It's not a love triangle. Yeah.
I think in a story like this... At no point
is it a love triangle. It's just everyone's confused and bad at communicating.
In a story like this, I feel like there's just so much contrivance going on here.
Yeah, that's part of the fun, you know? I think, here's the thing. This is the first of a set of modern rom-coms I wanted you to read. I've got 2 more. So not a ton more, but I do have 2 more series that I am very interested in having you read at some point in the near future, right? And all 3 of them are modern, sort of more office, but all 3 of them are Korean manhwas. And one of the things is that, so we've talked about the differences, for example, in dramas, right? Between like China, Korea, and Japan, right? One of the things, Japan always has like the funniest dramas with the most physical comedy and gags, right? Like China does really good at these long period pieces. One of the things that Korean media does melodrama incredibly well. Like office romance, melodrama, like weird misunderstandings and contrivances is like the bread and butter of most popular Korean media, right? So that this is not unique to this story. It is in fact endemic of sort of like the entire selection of stuff. Because the other 2 that I want to have you read are also they're like contrived with like things happening, you know? Just to kind of further plot. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of stories do that. But in the case of a rom-com, it can often be very obvious that these things are happening, right? Like, the fact that, like, you know, she just happens to accidentally destroy his laptop and then gets him a new computer and stuff. Like,
I have, like, suspicions on where just how far this contrivance is going. Don't tell me if I'm right or not. But I have a feeling that the guy that asked her out and is now dating another girl is dating the girl. The girl that he's dating is the one that, especially now that I know about the not gay convenience store boy, that's the one he wants. But I also think that girl is the guy that our male lead dated while at the previous office. That's my theory on how deep this web of contrivance goes.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Don't correct me.
Okay. Yeah, I won't correct you one way or the other, whether you're right or wrong.
Yeah.
But you are on the right track that something bigger is going on with all of our characters. So, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and argue that this is, like, the most complex of stories, or, like, a piece of, like, you know, great literature that will be, you know, lauded by poets.
I think...
But I love it.
I totally understand why you love it. I think it's the biggest thing that's making me, like, on it is absolutely 100% just the male lead.
Taesu?
He doesn't feel like a particularly well done character, and his just the creepiness of it alone is like deterring me from really getting attached to that character. And it feels like the relatability side of this feels very like I've watched it and I'm like, okay, I think the male and the female leads both feel like they hit that relatable aspect. Like Horimiya for me is a good example where the female is very well rounded, the male is very well rounded, and you kind of get an idea of both their lives.
A Sense of Affection is another good example of a bit of a more balanced story where both characters have autonomy, personality, individual.
But then I'm sure I could point you to no end of male-focused romances where the male is a decently well-balanced character and the woman is just no one acts like that. That's kind of like a weird contrivance of a character.
It's the difference on whether a book is written for a man or a woman, and when it comes to like kitschy romance.
And I have a feeling we've read a lot of romances, but most of them are fantasy, so I can kind of wave that a little bit of a way in that men in fantasy settings are allowed a certain level of creepiness inherent by the settings, unfortunately.
That's not
and sometimes
wrong,
the woman calls it out, but it's kind of funny to see it called out.
That's not wrong, but it's a horrible thing to say.
Here, because we're in an urban setting, it's like, okay.
A modern urban setting.
Civil rights, at least, I know it's not America, but like, civil rights or like, the woman empowerment has happened. So, men doing these creepier things or these things that maybe shouldn't be accepted or shouldn't be just like hand waved away. Like, yeah, I get you were scammed, man, but there is no reason that woman should let an obviously homeless man live in her house, no matter how bad off he is.
Yeah, that's it is a little, it does sort of rely on a willing suspension of disbelief in order to kind of keep going with the premise, right? Because, like, for example, if I was a woman living alone in an apartment and a man tried to get me to let him live with me, I would not. Like, that's just not a safe or sane situation. You know?
I can get it in a wish fulfillment sense. The guy is very clearly attractive. He's got like tattoos, but he's kind of a bad boy, but not
tall.
really a bad boy. He's got like a dark backstory that he doesn't talk about in too much detail, and he cleans for you and cooks for you,
and budgets, for
and
the
you're
household.
helping get his life back in order. It's like the quintessential I can fix him story. It's not a toxic relationship, but it's like not one that realistically should ever occur.
No. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's wish fulfillment. A lot of romance stories are. I think with your perception of T.H.E, I am so incredibly excited to give you What's Wrong with Secretary Kim and a business proposal. You can tell by the names that those are going to be absolutely wild. A business proposal and What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. Because those are the other two I'm going to have you read. I'm not going to push like 50 of these on you. It's just these three. But I'm so excited. Well, does it technically count as a fourth if at some point I'm either going to have you watch Wotakoi or have you read Wotakoi, but that's a Japanese manga. Would you count that?
Yes and no. Yeah, it's like technically a modern day romance.
Yeah.
But on the other hand...
But it's also not like this.
Especially when we're talking about male and female dynamics.
Well,
the differences in Japan
different.
versus Korea versus the United States are very different.
Yeah.
So
similar setting, but perhaps a very different take on the character dynamics and
like
gender roles.
I know from generally being on social media and seeing like video essays of it and looking into other cultures that Korea does have a very contentious men's and women's gender issues.
Yeah, it can be a problem.
Whereas in Japan, not saying it's not an issue, but it's not as contentious.
Yeah.
Like, just publicly contentious.
Yeah. I think the other thing I wanted to bring up, I touched on it in the beginning, but this does not format out to the page or even the way it looks similarly to just about anything I've showed you. And part of that is because they're not wearing historical costuming. But, oh my god, Peachy, that was all of your claws into my thigh at once. But the other thing is, this actually, the panel layout is not the same as most manhwa. Like, this does not have as much of, like, the identifiable scrolling layout that most manhwa, like Solo Leveling or any of the other stuff I've showed you. This actually has a pretty solid, like, panel layout rather than a scrolling layout. Which makes it work, actually, really well in a book format, you know? So yeah, it's also obviously a different art style.
But this one's is webcomic, not webtoon, right?
This is a webtoon as well.
Oh. Was it originally a webtoon, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, story and art by Jade, so... I think so, yeah. Yeah, okay, so it was first published by Legend, so yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I am super happy about this, though. I literally was at a Barnes & Nobles and just happened to see this on the shelf, and I had no intentions of buying any books that day, and I immediately bought it because I was like, I did not even realize that this was going to be getting a paper adaptation, and I was extremely excited about it. So I think it's fantastic. A lot of that is just coming from the fact that I think it's a little bit different from a lot of the stuff that I normally read. Because I do read a sort of modern rom-coms a little less often than fantasy ones. And a lot of that is sort of like the suspension of disbelief, right? Like, am I willing to, like, put aside all these things, you know? Like, I think outside of this and the two other series I just mentioned, there's only, like, 2 other modern webtoons I'm reading right now, or manhwas that I'm reading right now. One of them is another Korean one, called, I forget the name of it. I'll post it on screen. And the other one I can't even remember the name of, but I started it recently, and it's a modern rom-com, but it's technically one of those, like, you die and then you're reborn 6 months before, but it's modern. So it's like kind of the same thing as a lot of my historical stuff. So it's not really like this. This is entirely in the moment. There's no do-overs here. You have been sat upon.
Yes, I see that.
There's a Peachy.
I see that.
There's a big fat Peachy. Buddy. Hello. Oh, I see. What is that? Oh, just a little scab. Probably scratched herself on something. Hey, buddy. So yeah, I don't have much more to say about this. I'm really enjoying it. I think we'll probably do this in another chunk once I have like another 3 volumes or something. This series shouldn't be very long either. Like, it wasn't that many chapters when it was completed. So in theory, we might actually be done in the next section, kind of like the beginning of the story, the end of the story. I'd be interested if that is how it pans out. I'll have to check how many volumes will be coming out. But yeah, I'm very excited to finish this. See if T.H.E continues to just be creepy in Knick-Knack's eyes, and see if his guesses are correct or not. Once we actually get to reveals and stuff happening.
Ow!
Is it the weight of her paw?
No, it's because she tried to catch herself and she scratched my leg while catching herself. Okay. Okay.
Bye, boys. Bye, boys.
You were a lot easier to manage when you were a kitten and you were much lighter.
But she wants you.
Here. Next best thing.
Called straight off me. She's mad because we were away for the weekend. So she's throwing a temper tantrum. Anyways, I don't have much more to say. I don't think you do either.
No, not really.
But I'm happy about how this went, being like a little bit off our normal beaten path of what I'm making Knick-Knack read. So
yeah,
we'll see you back next time. I don't know with what. Knick-Knack doesn't know with what.
I know we're recording next, so that's not what's coming next. You guys would have already watched what we're recording next.
Yup. So, like, comment, subscribe.
Bye.